Hey guys, this is HOPEsaidit back with another HOPEsaidit Uncut video, and it took me a week to get to a video because last week I had to take a break. You know, with all the things going on with social injustices and just, the anger and pain being felt by most, if not all, of the African American community, I just had to pause and get my thoughts together before I address this issue. So if you read this blog post, I came back this week. On Tuesday, I released a blog post just talking about why some Black people do not like the police. And it's not anything to bash the police. It really was just to let people know, because I think a lot of our counterparts, our non-Black counterparts, are like, what's the deal? Just do good and nothing will happen to you. And that's really not the case. And what you see in headlines, those are the worst case scenarios. You know, that's the one that get everybody angry. But what we deal with every day are little things that kind of tear us apart from police and positive communications with the police.
It's a trust issue. Just like with students who go to school, if they have that one encounter with a bad teacher, that's going to affect their next encounters with the next teacher. They're not going to hate the teacher, the new teacher. They're going to be more hesitant. They're going to be more cautious. It's breaking the trust. So now that teacher has to work harder to build the trust with the student. So same thing with police officers. If a police officer is doing what he does, and normally that's fine, but then that previous broken trust from the Black community is there. So they're going to have to work harder or prove themselves to show, oh, okay, you're not like the others. That's just how it is. It's just the trust relationship. So.
And I didn't introduce her, but this is Grace. This is my sister. I brought her in because she is smarter than I. She's a historian. She's an educator, so she's someone who I really think would add a lot of great insight to this conversation. I started with my story when I was 8 years old, and the interaction I had with my first police officer. Now, mind you, I always saw police officers kind of like, in the classroom, career day, they come, they say great things. We had DARE, we had GREAT, all led by police officers. So, I was like, yeah, cops, they protect you, cool. But there was this one officer in our neighborhood. I grew up in Maryland, 20708, what's up? And there was this, I was about to say SRO. No, he was a legit cop who patrolled around in our neighborhood. And I didn't really know him. I didn't have any interaction with him. But I know that one day I saw him, and I looked at, I was like, yeah, exactly. You were there too. And I looked and he was on the other side of the street. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't think anything of it, but I know he was talking to my brother. And I said, oh, okay, that's fine. And I heard a conversation. I wasn't really paying attention to it until I hear this girl named Shantae. I will never forget. She said, oh, ain't that your brother? And I was like, what, huh? And I look and I hear my brother yelling. And if you know my brother, he doesn't yell unless he's like really angry. So I hear him yelling. He's like, whoa, just leave us alone. And that's all I hear. This officer got in the car and it just went. And it wasn't like a, move out the way. He went with the car. Go ahead.
Didn't he go on the curb?
Yeah.
He went on the
curb. And my brother was like, boom, what are you doing? I was like, oh my gosh. He tried to run over my brother. So I don't know what to do. I just saw it and I just ran. That's all. I ran towards the cop and I was like, why are you whatever. And so the cop's like, oh, calm down, blah, blah, and just, brushes me off eventually. He gets in the car and he drives away. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like, what happened? In my mind, I'm like, well, surely my brother did something because no cop is just going to do that. And so I asked my brother when we get home, I was like, what happened? What'd you do? And he was like, I ain't do nothing. That's Officer Randy. He's racist and everybody knows he's racist. He always finds the Black kids and tries to, basically try to get them, what do you call it? When
riled up.
Yeah, like when you instigate, I don't know, but instigate the situation so that, whoa, they did this, time to arrest them, So that's the situation that I had with the first cop. And so that really did kind of let me see, okay, that's how a cop treats Black people. All right, that's cool.
See, after that experience, I didn't really have encounters like Hope's gonna mention. That memory just stuck with me and it just taught me to be cautious, if nothing else. That trust was broken, cautious. And then we grew up in an age when there weren't SROs, school resource officers in your school. So I didn't really have that, good relationship with officers until college. The trust did not get built back up until I started teaching. I taught U.S. history and in a high school my first year, and then I saw more SROs, and you can see that they were really trying to work with students, calm them down if there was a fight or something, really try to build relationship with students. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, officers can be good people. So I think that's how it is for me.
I think mine just kept on going down and down until college. So, no, not until after college. I had my first job at that time, or second job, third, Lord. I was an adult. I was an adult when I had my first good encounter. So I told you about the 8-year-old, had that racist cop. Then later in college, I didn't really try to interact that much with the police officers. And the SRO that we had at our school, he was a little shady. Probably had some inappropriate relationships with people. But that's another story. So that's another thing I knew, and you're shady. In college, there was a situation where I got sideswiped. Like, literally, we were just regularly on the road. 2 cars on the road. And this car, I know, was probably texting or something happened. And it came and swiped as we were driving. And I was like, what the heck? No. And so I stopped. I got the, license number. Cool. The car drove off. I went to the police. I called the police officer, let him know what happened. And they came. And when they came, it was so weird. They came and it was nighttime. And the officer got there, didn't really ask for anybody. Like, he didn't say, hey, are you Hope? Are you? He was just there, like, patrolling. And so I had to come out and say, hey, are you here for Hope? And he was like, yeah. But while he was doing that, he was kind of egging on the other residents. So he was like, hey, what are you looking at? Well, you got a problem? And I'm like, what are you doing? People are just looking at you through the balcony because you're here. And he's just, I don't know, he just had a problem. And so when I came down finally and said, yeah, I came here, they sideswiped me. I have their license plate. What can we do? Basically nothing. Hopefully you can just buff that off. Like, just buff that. So it doesn't matter that they sideswipe me. No, you're probably not going to catch them. I was like, yeah, but I have their license plate. So can't you just look them up that way? And he was like, yeah, it's probably not worth it. Wow. So I was like, okay, so you're dogging my car and you're basically saying, who cares? Just buff it. So I said, okay, that's fine. That was whack, but that's fine. I didn't fix it because I was in college. So I was like, okay, I got a scratch on my car, whatever. Next year, I'm driving down the street. I'm at a red light. Boom! Right behind me. And I was like, whoa, okay, no. Okay, the guy comes out. Hey, let's pull over here. I pull over. Car keeps going. And I was like, are you kidding me? Call the police. I did not get to have the license plate number that time. But at this point, I was like, who cares? I did that before and it did nothing. So I, called the police. Said, I know what the car looks like. It was this and that. But guess what? There's a red light camera right here. Like, this intersection, I have gotten a ticket from here before, so I know it works. And he was like, yeah, we can't pull it for that. I'm sorry, what? I know what time it happened. Let me tell you what time it happened, because I'm trying to make it easy. No, we're not going to pull it for that. Oh, well, it was a crack in the headlight. I was like, wow. So now I have a scratch on the side, a crack on the back, and no one cares. And I called the police both times. So at that point, I was like, I'm done. I do not care anymore about y'all, period. I'm not calling y'all for nothing. I end up working at the police station. Yeah, I know, right? It was a work study job. I didn't know. It was under transportation. I was the person who drove the cars around the college. So I didn't know it was under the police department. Got some really, they were really cool. And that's the first time where I was like, okay, y'all are okay, but wait till I need something, And so one time I was driving and a cop stopped me, but I knew him. And I was like, oh, okay, hey, no, yeah, I'll turn it off. My bad. Oh, this doesn't work. Yeah, there's a lot of things don't work in this car. It's okay. So he let me go. And that was cool. But in my head still, I was like, but that's because you know me. Like, if I was just Joe Blow, you'd still say something crazy. So that's kind of how my relationship was. I'm better with them, but that's because I know these guys. I can call them up personally. That's cool. And then I get to, I have my job, like my second, third, fourth real job, whatever. I'm adult, basically. And so I'm going to work, and on the highway, my tire goes out. Like, I'm talking about, boom, like not even, oh, it's flat. I'm talking about, no, there's only rim left is what I had. I said, oh, crap. Okay. Turned over, pulled over, and I was like, I just gotta go. I'm just, ugh. And I was just driving, and I just go somewhere. Police officer sees me, starts trailing me, and I was like, surely you can't get a ticket for this. So I just don't know what to do. And he said, hey, your wheel. I was like, well, yeah, I know. Hello, I'm making fire on the road. I know what my wheel is doing. And so he's talking about, hey, let's get that fixed. And I'm thinking, I ain't got money for you. Like, what's going on here? He long story short, when I tell you I didn't have a jack, I had an old spare in my tire. Like, nothing worked of what could fix the situation. I had no spare. I had no good working jack. He had to drive me in his car to a tire shop, not one but two, because the first one was closed. It was crazy, and we got it fixed in the span of like 2 hours or something like that. When I tell you the dedication he showed, I said, no, it's all good. You can go. I can call this person. He's like, no, that's fine. No, we're going to get this fixed and get you on your way. He was so good. I had to mail his chief. I literally looked up the police chief and said, no, you need to know about your officer. Because this guy who was white went above and beyond. And I said, hold up. Is this what white people get all the time? Like, this is the treatment y'all get? That's what y'all used to when you call the police? I would love the police too if this was all my interactions, but it has not. Listen, I was like, oh yeah, I'd be mad if y'all were against the blue too if I knew only people like him. Right. I did not know only people like him. I knew Officer Randy, who almost ran over my brother. I knew an officer who came out and didn't care that my Corolla was sideswiped. Another one who didn't care that it got, hit in the back. But if I had a BMW, would you have cared? Like, if I looked like Little Sally, would you have cared a little more? I don't know. But please know that Black people are not just angry about the situation. We're not just playing the race card. There are facts to back it up.
There's always a reason.
Yeah, and you just don't know. You don't know. And we shouldn't have to tell you. You should just be like, hey, I don't know what you've been through, but apparently, there are some things that went through to get to this point. Today, I have no problem with police officers. But I know there are still people like Officer Randy out there. That was not a one-off. And that's what I'm sick of hearing. Like, oh, it's him. Yeah, there's hims, but they're everywhere. So what do you do when it's not just that guy? It's a whole group of people. So I think it's important to just think about perspectives and know the different perspectives, because you don't know the history that an African American has had with anything. Not even Black people, just dealing with racism, systematic racism in general. And we're not even going to get to gentrification and all that. But there are a lot of, just Google it at this point. There are a lot of things that tell you, hey, Black people have always been positioned to kind of not, to have that glass ceiling. So give them the opportunity, but only this far. Some companies are doing better, but that just happened. You have to have like a CEO of diversity to make that happen. And that really shouldn't be the case. What I noticed during this whole thing, I would just say that it's kind of sad that everybody loves Black stuff. Like you love Black music and Black hair and the clothes and oh, it's so cool. And I want to dabble in this and that. And then when, stuff really starts to happen, you're just like, couldn't be me. You're quiet on the issue, and I'm like, hello. Right. Love Black people as much as you love Black culture. That's what I'm saying. And if you're here for the rhythm, be here for the blues too. So I'm glad that people are stepping up. They're supporting the cause and stuff. But it shouldn't have taken this long, I feel, for you to kind of open your eyes. Now I get it. Sometimes it just takes a while. This seems like it's just an awakening at this point, and that's fine. But just know that if you're liking Black things and you're not liking the people behind it, that's kind of whack. Just like, the Hispanic community. If you're all, oh, keep the illegals out, but you want their food? Okay, that's weird. Just know that. I mean, if you don't like the people, leave it all, and you can keep your unseasoned chicken all to yourself.
Okay. See.
And another thing I'm seeing is, and I'm sick of seeing actually, is that people, when a Black person is killed, it's almost like, let me find out if they stole candy when they were 7 years old to kind of justify this act. I'm not saying it was in correlation. I'm just saying
he wasn't perfect.
And I'm like, no one is perfect. Even if allegedly having a counterfeit $20, which you don't even know if he knew he had.
But it doesn't matter because human life was taken. Human life was taken.
Human life was taken.
Someone's life was taken. And I think we need to stop thinking this is this happened and it's like the Rosa Parks thing where we had to find a symbol for the movement. This is not the case. We were sick of what happened and then we just came together and...
It's the straw that broke the camel's back. You have to understand that there were, like, within a week or two, you go on the news and it's like, this person got killed. Okay. Race related. This person got killed. Sleeping in her home. Okay. This person got killed. Even before then, you know, we're still talking about a Tatiana and she got killed by a police officer who came to her home. You know, it's just a lot of people. We couldn't even mourn one. You move on to the other. So George Floyd, when you see the video and you see the officer's face, there's no struggle. There's no anything. And he's basically like, I love the smell of black souls leaving.
I don't understand why we're getting off topic with character.
Yeah.
When a video clearly showed life taken. That's all that matters. It's not about, I need to see the full story. What more do you need to see?
So I think people are understanding that was horrible. Now, everybody is saying that was horrible. That's why you're not getting administrative leave in an investigation. Listen, we see the video. We see what happened. That's cool. But I think what people are thinking is that this is a one-off situation. And we're trying to tell you this was just caught on video. Okay, this happens all the time. Someone might not have died, but sometimes, like, you know how many hashtags we have of people who have died because of something like this? You know, so...
Right, this is not new.
This is not new. This is just something that you guys were just privy to, you know, because it was everywhere and it was that egregious. That's cool. But just know that we're not just angry for no reason. We're not demanding action for no reason. We're saying, hey, you see this? Yeah, this is what happens. So what are we going to do to the system to make sure?
So understand that's the reason. So bringing up random things like respect the American flag or back the blue, you're missing the whole point. And can we just talk about the American flag for a minute? It's a symbol. It's a national symbol, okay? It doesn't have magical powers. It did not save us in any war. It is not our savior, okay? We don't worship it, okay? I need us to understand that it is a symbol like any other nation's flag. This symbol is not more important than human life, any human's life, all right? And if you love the flag so much and it was so respected, why is it on underwear? Why is it on random articles of clothing and weird things like that if we truly respected it?
Yeah,
you know
if you think it's sacred, you wouldn't just use it like for marketing purposes.
Right. So I'm like, can we just stop? We're not saying we want to get rid of a national symbol, but just understand that symbol does not mean the same thing to us. Yeah. Okay? Because July 4th doesn't mean much to African Americans because we are still fighting freedoms, types of freedoms to this day. And back then, we weren't even free. So we don't even have the same definition for the U.S. flag that other people have. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's not even about disrespect. We were still respecting the flag. And we're like, okay, you know, saying the... But I mean, at some point, you got to understand the reason why. Same thing with Black the Blue. We are not against
I just gave my story, and I like police officers, you know, so it's not about being against... Don't change the narrative. And I think that's what I'm mad at. I'm just like, guys, keep the main thing the main thing. We are wanting justice, okay? Don't veer it off and say, respect the... Ain't nobody say that.
And then the respect thing, it gets to my next point. The whole point about violence is not the answer. Okay, so here's the thing. Black people have protested in many ways. Many ways. Marches, boycotts, taking a knee. There's been multiple protests. Very little has been done. So now when we get to violence, we're hearing that's not the answer. What is the answer? So please tell me what's the answer. And also tell me why you are the God of answers. Why do you get to decide?
Tell me how I should protest.
Why do you get to decide how we protest too? You not only get to decide how justice happens in this country. You have to give us a paper, a script of how to protest now too.
If you don't like what we're doing, I suggest you do this. That's not how you do things.
We've tried it all. We've tried it all.
Peacefully is what we tried. And you swayed it to mean that it was disrespectful to the flag.
And Dr. King, his quote, a riot is the language of the unheard. We've tried other methods. So how else can you be heard? It's just like educators. It's just like a student who is frustrated and start destroying a classroom. Are they evil? Are they doing it for no reason. No, they've gotten to a place in their mind where they're like, you know what, you're not listening to me. Yeah, same thing. There is an underlying reason, and they needed to be, they needed the lens, they needed the media to see it so that they can explain the reason. All right, but no one's focusing on the reason.
Yeah, and
So
I think that's the most
key.
annoying part. No one cares about the why. You're caring about the what. It's about I was going to say equality. It's really about equity at this point. You know, like we got some things to do to catch up. It's equity to get us all on the same playing field.
And we even know violence is not the answer. We're not saying violence is okay, but you got to understand their mindset. From the movie Just Mercy, one of the quotes at the end was, "Hopelessness is the enemy of justice." You get to a place where you're just hopeless, and you're like, oh, you know what?
It doesn't matter what happens.
Doesn't even matter anymore. So because the justice system isn't helping them, so you become hopeless, and now it's like, whatever. So why don't we fix the justice system so there is hope restored?
So I know at this point you're like, okay, that's great. You're unheard. Gotcha. Now what do we do? If you are a non-Black person watching this, if you're like, got it, you got my attention, what are the next steps? Well,
I mean, I understand there's a fear. There's a fear of, I don't know what to say, or I don't want to offend Black people. But here's the thing. Fear is an emotion that everyone feels.
Exactly.
Fear should not lead to an action. When you're scared of something, you shouldn't be like, ooh, and do nothing. Haven't you been scared before?
Exactly.
And done something?
Yeah.
I think we all need to get into the mindset of do what you would do in any other movement. You guys saw that video with Amy and the dog. That dog got justice.
Oh my goodness.
So
Swift
quick.
justice.
So I need you to use that same energy for that
swift.
dog that you use on Black people. Stop acting like this movement is different from any others in the way you should act.
Exactly.
Act swiftly. Do what you need to do to make change. So what can you do?
Be sure that instead of passively just saying, oh, I don't personally do anything racist, and I don't do that. Well, are you calling out on anybody who is? Because they're not going to listen to us. We pull out the racism card too much. So are you using your privilege to act for the good and say, hey, you shouldn't say that. That joke? No, that's offensive. What you should do is stop doing this. You know, like you have to use your platform as well to help the greater good.
And it's not only privilege, it's your gifts, your talents. Are you a great artist? Draw some heartfelt images that will pierce people's hearts to action. Are you a great writer? That next blog post better be about Black Lives Matter or something like, are you a great poet? Use those words to make it make sense. Guys, we all learn in different ways. Use your gift to teach others. And that's how it's got to be for this movement and any movement. Why is this one so difficult for everyone?
I think,
and another thing, I think people don't know what to do because they think they should be protesting. Guys, we are not all Dr. Kings. We are not all members of SNCC who were getting things thrown in their face. And we were not all, boycott, sit-in people. No, you got to do what you do. If you are someone who tweets, there you go. That's what you're going to do. If you're someone who likes to donate to a cause, do that. Like, do your part. But I'm not saying just do what you're comfortable with. This is not about comfort. We've been living in comfort for way too long. Do what's unexpected because then others will be like, oh, you did that. And it might motivate others to do that.
Yeah.
Don't let fear drive this narrative.
I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. That's not acceptable. You have to do something and muster up the courage to do something because we're at a point now where change has to happen. It's nothing else. It has to happen. Or what you're seeing, this unrest will just continue because we're not going back to that status quo. Change has to happen.
And it has to happen because it's 2020. Guys, we have too much information. We have too many methods to get information to where at this point, if you don't know, it's because you chose not to.
You did not want to know.
You did not want to know because there's too many methods too. Video, books. Articles.
Like there's
TED
a lot
talks.
of things. You think we learned a lot of things outside of school? Yes, I know the system is not great. There's so many things to learn. Depending on what state you're in, they'll just tailor it and say, hey, here are the most important things.
We learned about Black history outside of school.
So you need to learn what happened. So a lot of times people are saying, oh my God, slavery was 400 years. We're not talking about slavery. We're talking about the things that systematically happened during slavery and after, even
Which
to this
is
day.
still American
Yes,
history.
yes.
This is not separate. This is part of
Yes.
American history in
Yeah,
America.
and you can still see the inequality
Exactly.
in that. So just learn up on that, and don't not listen. Like, don't try to me too and empathize. You can't empathize because you don't get it. Just like I heard a story. One of the people I know, she was saying, yeah, I was talking to my white counterpart, and I was saying, hey, this and that, because I'm scared. My son is black. I taught him how to, when he gets stopped by a police officer, here's what you do. We just want you back alive. And the white counterpart, instead of saying, wow, I don't have to teach my son that, or I never even thought of that, she said, yeah, I know, because my son, when he gets stopped, he's scared he's going to get a ticket too. So I get it. Like, once you see the lights, you're all scared. No, we're not talking about that, boo. And that's what I'm saying. You're not listening. You're just trying to be like, how can I connect? You can't connect. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are like, I just want to say me too, or I get it. You don't get it though. And when you don't get it, all you can do is listen. I can't, if someone dies in a family, I can't say, oh, I know what you're going through. If I never had a death in my family, what are you talking about?
And if you did have a death, we don't.
You still don't know what I'm going through. Your death is not my death, so I can't just say I get it.
And you definitely can't say, oh, I had it worse. How does that help anything?
Oh my gosh. Just the one-upping and the me too is too much. So just stop and listen. Stop and focus on the cause. Don't divert it and start talking about the victim's history or the disrespect that's happening but this is happening. Look at the cause and laser focus on that cause.
Right. And like we said, educate yourself, because it is not the job of black people to share their personal story. Like, we willingly gave you the cop story, but don't assume, oh, I have a black friend. Hey, can I call you and just ask what your experience was? It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because that's a part of trauma. Why would I want to expose someone who went through something traumatic to keep reliving it, especially when they're not sure that you will understand? Or that you will give them the response that they need to cope.
Exactly.
So why open that up just to make you feel educated and not have to do the work yourself? No, read the books, watch the videos, same type of thing, just a different time period, a different person. That's what it is.
So just learn up.
And as educators, you must talk about race. You must. Little kids, there are books. Find those books. Use a puppet. Use whatever you need to do to tailor education to meet the needs of the students that you're teaching.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We're losing some students because what they see is a classroom that is not listening to their culture. They're a classroom. They're expected to do so well on this test when the world around them is burning. All right, their community is hurting, and then all that teacher cares about is, I need you to get your behavior together and do well on this next test, or you're gonna fail. The test doesn't matter to them if their community is destroyed, if their community is not working. We have to focus on what matters, and part of it is discussions. If a student knows that you want to hear their story and accept it and be like, oh wow, yeah, and then they see other students also relating, that helps. It helps them realize they are not alone in this. And that builds, like what we said, trust. Because if you don't have trust at the young age, you're not going to magically build trust.
Or it's going to take forever like it did for me with Officer Randy.
Exactly. So that's key. We all have our role. So you got to think, what
can you do?
What is my purpose? What can I do? Because every little thing adds up. Every little thing adds up, can affect all the people, because we're all different. So you gotta figure out what'll work for different people. Because you gotta understand, black people are not all the same.
No.
So this little thing you do here may not work for this black person. So you gotta do what works. You gotta try different methods. Maybe this student needs, just wants you to care about their stories, listen to their story. Maybe this student wants you to give them a little dap. It doesn't, but don't be that person that's like, oh, I know how to reach them. Hey, what's up? It's like, oh, okay, we haven't built that trust. So why are you claiming the culture and trying to use that to skip some steps to build a relationship. Not gonna work. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Do the work. It takes lots of work to build trust. You know that.
But it really just, yes, do the work, educate yourself first. So, find your gifts, educate yourself.
Ask questions, because no one knows it all. So please don't assume. Just ask questions and you will get the answers. You will get answers. I mean, you may not get it in the format that you want, but you'll get an answer. You'll get an answer.
So, I mean, we could go on and on about this.
could.
We really could. But we'll leave you with that. I mean, at least you kind of see the history of it, what the state of it is now, and what you can do, hopefully, in the future. Get those nuggets of, hey, maybe I should educate myself. Maybe I should use my gifts to do something to push the conversation forward. Because you have to understand, this is systematic racism. It's not just this one person. It's integrated. So we have to all work together to say, okay, we got to undo our mindset and think broader about doing this. But like I said, this could go on forever. I'll end it there. Hopefully give you something to think about. Thank you also to Grace. I mean, she said way more than I could have, especially when it comes to educators and just different people. When she says educators, don't just think it's about teachers. All of us can be educators, okay?
True.
Any child that we get encountered with, any adult that we have influence over,
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
One last thing, we don't need titles, guys. I don't know why people always want a title. It's almost like you want to be a superhero, an Avenger. You need a title. Like, I don't need you to be called a Black Lives Matter supporter. I don't need you to be called a ally of Black people.
No, just do the right thing.
Just be anti-racist,
Just do the right
like
thing.
everyone.
Exactly.
I'm anti-racist, you're anti-racist. Let's do the work.
Well, you heard it here first. Follow me at HOPEsaidit on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, my blog, HOPEsaidit.com. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Do share your experiences and let us know what you think. And we just will talk to you guys later, because I have a doozy of a blog post for next week for you. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Powerful. She smells like cocoa butter.